JMikeMedia.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
All right, we've got Zach Newsom here with us today, who is running for city council, among other things. But we're here to talk about Juneteenth today, and I'm broadcasting live, by the way, from the Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters studio here in Fort Dodge. So, Zach, we should, one thing we did forget, and I can't believe I forgot this, we should talk about what time the Juneteenth celebration starts down in Meriwether Park.
11 o'clock will be
11 a.m.
11 a.m. till we're going to about 3 o'clock, 11 to 3.
Okay,
or
so
till
short one.
Till the food runs out.
Wow, that sounds like a Baptist party. You know, you got to go home at 3 in the afternoon.
You don't got to go home. You just can't stay here.
Where have I heard that before? Oh, yeah, everywhere I ever went in my life. That's right. Okay.
That's how I came to Fort Dodge. That's what they told me. My
Yeah.
parents, you don't got to go. You can't stay here. No.
You know, you told an interesting story about your background. You got just a minute just to tell the story again?
Yeah, so I have originally from Toledo, Ohio. I have 22 biological siblings, all same dad, and then most of us have the same mom. Then adopted by the Newsom family with 2 of my siblings, with 32 kids they adopted. So I grew up in a household of 25 kids.
Were these white people or?
My parents were white, yes, but they adopted a mix of kids,
Yeah, sure.
black, yeah. So different backgrounds, different from different settings. But yeah, 25 of us lived in the same household. Family car, a red, white, and blue bus, and then
A red, white, and
a
blue
red, white,
bus?
and blue bus. Yeah, that talk
Wow.
about a chick magnet.
Chick magnet?
We would drive.
I'm so glad you said that, because if I had said that, there'd have been a petition again to get me thrown off the air.
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it.
No,
we
you're
would
all right.
we would
You're
go growing up. We'd pull up to a stop sign, like people would literally in their cars take pictures of us because that like you just wouldn't see that. It just wasn't normal driving around. And then we were able to get another bus because that one was we went to Tennessee on like a family vacation and it caught on fire. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a fun trip. But then we got another bus donated, a school bus, and because we weren't a school, we couldn't keep it yellow. So they thought it would be a fun idea to let us paint it, and it was horrendous. It was so ugly. And then to make things worse, in the winter, we put a plow on it so we could so my dad could plow the driveway, and then he would go around the neighborhood just plowing people's yards, so everybody knew where we were at and who we were when we went out in public.
Sure.
It was very.
So are your adoptive parents still alive? Or?
Yes. So my adoptive parents are still alive, living in Ohio. 13. I have 13 siblings living at home right now with them.
Still back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So about 5 will probably stay for like they're autistic or have some type of disability. So they'll probably be at home too.
You know, your parents are the kind of white liberals that I think should be held up. Most white liberals I don't have any time for. I think they're self-serving. But your parents are exceptional human beings, your adoptive parents. I mean, if they can raise and take on 25 children,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, because somebody in there with their professional background, they could have just made a pile of money, be sitting on a beach somewhere drinking beer or something.
Yeah.
They chose,
well, they were religious, so they didn't drink. They didn't drink.
No, okay. They could be having what do you call those things?
Sparkling cider.
Sparkling cider. Some doggone thing. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Are they Baptist people?
Yeah. So
okay.
Now they grew up like my dad's side, adopted dad's side. Well, my dad's side was Presbyterian, I think. And then my mom's side Baptist, and she was like her mom's Sunday school teacher, played the piano in the church, and type of lifestyle.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Do you go to church here now, or?
Yeah, I go to church.
You go down to Second Baptist, or?
I've been there a couple times. Yeah, I've recently actually for doing some things with Sherry.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked. You guys seem to have a contact with Sherry there.
Yeah, she's been a blessing to me.
What other churches have you gone to in Fort Dodge?
In Fort Dodge, I've been to Harvest. I've been to Prairie Lakes. I've checked out. I've been to about almost all. I've been to New Covenant a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around. I've been to.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, I do a little church shopping myself every now and then.
I'm
talking about Mike Carmody out here at New Covenant.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know? Have you been there?
I've been there, but not for like an event, so not
Okay.
for an actual service.
All right.
But I do know actually was one of some of my soccer kids' parents go there, so I've like talked to them about it.
Mhm. You mentioned coaching. Do you have an athletic background?
I mean, it depends on the sport. Basketball, no. I have the mouth of Michael Jordan, but the skills of his sidekick in Space Jam.
Yeah.
I can't play basketball to save my life, but I'll still be out there. But soccer, track, yeah.
You do
soccer,
those
track.
things,
Yeah.
and you do them well.
I
Okay.
do them well.
Well, I've been a huge sports
swimming.
fan.
And swimming.
Yeah. Well, I've been a huge sports fan, but I'll tell you.
And volleyball. I do that pretty well.
You ever heard of Mickey Mantle?
Yes.
I was
Baseball.
never close to Mickey Mantle, but boy, I sure wanted to be. I couldn't even get a starting position on a little league baseball team.
Oh my. That bad? That bad?
Not quite, but I was in right field my whole career.
That's one sport I've never played. It took me
Really?
moving out here, and I think 2018. It wasn't even baseball though. So I was asked to be on. A friend of mine's had a softball team out in Harlan, so I like slow pitch or whatever. So I played that, but other than that, I have no baseball experience or anything.
I was Sherry Washington was going to call back, but I haven't heard from her yet. You know, we used to call Pleasant Valley the Flats, but somehow that name fell out of favor.
Huh.
You know, I didn't know that. Oh, there. I mentioned her name. She goes, okay. Sherry, is that you? Hello, this is Mike. Is that you, Sherry? There you are. Okay, I want to ask you a question. It's sincere. We used to call Pleasant Valley the Flats, but somebody decided it was racist. Why was that? Do you remember that?
Well, I'm not
Negative
sure.
connotation or what?
Yes, well, it really is not a negative meaning.
No, it's the
kinda
flats down by the
indicates-
river.
Yeah, well, it's probably one of the flattest areas in the city of Fort Dodge. And for that reason, it's called the Flats. I think that's the only area possibly that you have to take a hill, that has two hills going down into it. I don't think there's another area in Fort Dodge that has that kind of detour to get out of a flat area. So the name is self-serving. As far as I know, it's not a
No
negative.
racial name or anything. I didn't have a racial insult name. I mean, it was just because of the geography. That I thought it was just because of the geography. And I
Yeah.
really, and of course, Pleasant Valley sounds a hell of a lot better than the Flats.
Mhm.
But when I was young, the Flats was a pretty fun place to go. By the way.
Yes. It was a really happening place back in the day.
Yeah. I just remember it was fun. I don't remember anything else.
Yeah.
Probably just as well. So Zach Newsom is here, and I'm going to get to you with this question too, Sherry. So hang on. Tell us what Juneteenth means to you, because it's now a federal holiday.
It is.
I mean, coming up this Friday, as soon as tomorrow.
Somebody's got to tell my boss that. I don't know if he heard about that.
Listen, you don't work with the federal government. Clayton's not a Fed, I don't think.
Well, I have other jobs. I just want to make sure they're all aware of this, so, I can get it, so that paycheck next week.
There you go. Well, we'll see. Let me know how that works out, because I got to work tomorrow. So it's now a federal holiday, and you described a little bit of it earlier in the first segment.
Yeah.
And what Juneteenth means. How would you like Juneteenth in Fort Dodge to be seen? We're going to have this nice celebration. Well, we all know each other. We're a small town, if I go tomorrow, I bet I know 85% of the people that are there, white and black, or indifferent. But how would you, Sherry, and listen to this question, how would you like Juneteenth to be seen?
Exactly like that scene. I want people to come out to it, not post on like the pictures that get posted on Facebook. Actually come out, show your face, get to know your neighbor, get to know everybody down there, talk to them about like you asked me about my background. Celebrate each other, celebrate the fact that we can actually do this. Like I could come on your radio show and talk, and there not be, I could look you straight in the eye. You can't tell me, oh, don't look at me like that. You know what I mean? We have these freedoms that so often get taken advantage of, that we don't realize that.
Yeah. And you're right. You are correct. And
so that's why I want people to come out. I want them to celebrate, enjoy the good food, get to know, talk to somebody that you may not see Monday through Friday. get to know them, share your story, and just have a good time. And
right.
also bring your kids, let them be able to see adults being adults in a nice atmosphere, nice eating, talking, enjoying each other's company. And then also let's get these books that we're going to have out in everybody's hands so we can continue this.
Which books are you referring to?
Well, we'll have a variety of different books, just like celebrating Black culture,
Okay.
Juneteenth. But just you don't hear about it in schools. You don't really hear about it on the news. Like a lot of people aren't aware of the holiday. So that's what I want. I want people to come out, be seen, be vocal, but then also be willing to educate yourself more about exactly what it means.
Sherry, how would you like Juneteenth to be seen?
I would like to. I would hope that it would be seen as a unified event, unity, love, and peace, and an experience to understand your history a little bit, be a part of the history, and to understand exactly what Juneteenth is. As Zach communicated, there will be some books and literature, some education on it, because some folks only know the name, and they know about Abraham Lincoln, they know about the proclamation, but other than that, that may be all that they know about it. And there's so much more involved in that history piece of it. So I would hope that it could be a teachable moment.
Certainly that the history of the civil rights movement in the United States has been taught as history in public schools for years, hasn't it, Sherry?
It has, but it doesn't go very far. Kind of scratch the surface. It really doesn't go into some of the events leading up to how it happened. So supposedly the proclamation was signed years before, and that they were trying to get the word out and trying to get it delivered and trying to make an agreement on it and all these other actions and things that happened before it actually reached the hands of the person they were trying to get it to back on June 19th, 1865. But in 1863, there was a lot of work that started with it. And I think that's when they were trying to make it happen, but it didn't happen until 1865.
Well, people look at me funny when I say this. The greatest president in 100 years, to me, perhaps longer, was Lyndon Johnson. Look at his accomplishments. He passed Medicare, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act. He was a Southerner in 1965, and the world was a whole different place back in 1965, especially the South. He was a Southerner in the White House with Dr. Martin Luther King and other NCAA people surrounded him, and he signed that Voting Rights Act, and he wanted that picture on papers all over the country. Now that, at that time, took some guts. Now Johnson was, the Vietnam War sunk him, but you couldn't say that he didn't understand. And the reason, and this is why, this is what always strikes a chord with me. Johnson had grown up terribly poor, and he was lucky enough to get an education, but he understood the problems of terribly poor people, whether they be black or white, and especially black. He seemed to have, as a lot of Southern whites do, a particular affinity for black people because often they grew up in the same neighborhood. And when it came his time to see if he could do something about poverty, he did it. Now, we just don't have that sort of leadership in the United States anymore. We just don't have, Biden is talking a lot. We'll see what he does, but we need somebody to stand up and say poverty is wrong and we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it and stomp it out once and for all. Zach, you going to do that? They can't hear you when you nod.
Well, I was thinking about something. You said something, and then it made me go into a thought.
Yeah. All right.
Can I talk?
Yes, you can talk, of course.
So, I think when you said he understood, my personal opinion on that.
Not completely.
I don't think he understood. I think he couldn't afford to not acknowledge it. I think that's a more accurate statement for that situation. But it happened. The work got done. So I'm not gonna nitpick over it.
Sherry, thanks for being on, huh?
Thank you.
All right, Juneteenth coming up Saturday, 11 o'clock, Meriwether Park. Zach Newsom running for council. We'll talk more on that. Okay. Thanks a lot. All right. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Des Moines